This is the newsroom for today, Thursday, March 25, 2021. We are broadcasting to you on E1 Scar TV, NTN, and Tarsi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, as Guyana's COVID-19 death toll moves to 225, with 25 persons dying for the month thus far, President Irfaan Ali announces a massive vaccination campaign.
The government of Guyana is aggressively pursuing a strategy to vaccinate as many Guyanese as would be necessary.
The Guyana Fire Service is boosted with 4 more fire tenders. Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Suzanne Rodriguez, promises to resolve the age-old Beehive East Coast Demerara land matter affecting over 91 households. Guyana Light 104.1 FM marks its 3rd anniversary, and in sport, we share the success story of a young budding cricketer, and Golden Jaguar skipper Sam Cox moves from apprentice to senior pro. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that long-standing media personality and activist Namela Baines Henry died just after noon on Thursday. She died in the intensive care unit at the Infectious Diseases Hospital at Liliendal, where she was hospitalized for several days. She is reported to be the latest COVID-19 related death in the country. Her years in the media were spent working at Channel 9 for several years. She was also the former personal assistant, public relations officer at the Ministry of Legal Affairs. In most recent years, she worked at the Department of Public Information and the Guyana Chronicle. In addition, she was an early board member of the Society Against Sexual Orientation and Discrimination, SASAD, and worked with several other human rights bodies, including Artists in Direct Support. Meanwhile, 2 more men also died from the dreaded disease. The latest fatalities are 2 males, a 60-year-old from Region 4, Demerara Mahaika, and a 61-year-old from Region 7, Kayuni Mazaruni, who died on March 24 while receiving care at a medical facility. These persons take the death toll for the month of March thus far to 25 and the 9th for the week. Now, with the focus currently on frontline healthcare workers and persons 60 years and above for COVID-19 vaccination, President Irfaan Ali on Wednesday announced a massive vaccination campaign that will now target persons 40 years and older starting next week. In an address to the nation where he appealed to citizens to take the pandemic seriously by adhering to the established protocols and guidelines, Dr. Ali said the government is currently looking to procure another 200,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines in order for Guyana to attain herd immunity. Here's more.
Acknowledging that the country has already secured 200,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines, 120,000 of the Oxford AstraZeneca and 80,000 of the Sinopharm, President Irfaan Ali on Wednesday assured Guyanese that more vaccines are on its way, although he provided no detail on where an additional 200,000 doses will come from. He noted, however, that his administration was in talks with several governments, including Russia, China, and India, and also in direct talks with the producers of the vaccines, including Pfizer and Moderna. Guyana continues to engage the World Health Organization through the COVAX facility, although its proposed doses have been reduced to 24,000.
The government of Guyana is aggressively pursuing a strategy to vaccinate as many Guyanese as would be necessary to attain herd immunity and eventually ensuring all Guyanese are vaccinated. Our goal is to vaccinate as many as 10,000 citizens per day. To achieve this, the government of Guyana is embarking on an integrative approach.
Dr. Ali said in order to store and manage the vaccines and execute the task, the Ministry of Health has engaged various private sector players with the capacity to assist in the rollout. Additionally, the Guyana Defence Force has agreed to make some 400 ranks available to help with expediting the registration of citizens, while persons from local government bodies, civil society, medical and nursing students, and the medical brigade of the GDF will be trained to assist in the process. Persons will also be recruited as volunteers and will be vaccinated as they lend their assistance to the countrywide vaccination drive. Meanwhile, an expanded joint operation between the Immigration Department, the Army, Police, Regional COVID-19 Task Force committees, the private sector and other members of civil society have been engaged in further securing the country's borders, President Ali said. With several religious and cultural events like Pagwa Easter and Ramadan coming up, Dr. Ali made a special appeal for adherence to the COVID-19 guidelines.
The pandemic remains a serious national issue, a major global health concern. I urge you to continue to follow the guidelines I urge you to continue to stay safe. I urge you to continue to protect your families and your communities by adhering to the COVID-19 guidelines. We are not ahead of the curve. We are still managing this deadly pandemic.
The head of state noted that while the government has tried to strike the balance between the economy and managing the pandemic, businesses need to be responsible. In this regard, he noted that the National COVID-19 Task Force has been advised to pursue charges against owners of establishments that are found in breach of the COVID-19 guidelines. Since commencing its vaccination on March 5, 2021, over 25,000 persons have been vaccinated in Guyana.
Now, the Guyana Fire Service has been boosted with the donation of 4 new fire tenders to its fleet by the government of Guyana to the tune of $175 million. With the donation, it is expected that there will also be improved performance in its response to fires and other disasters. Isabella Patwa reports.
The fire tenders were handed over to Fire Chief Kalamadine Idu at the annual officers conference on Thursday held at the Guyana Police Force Training Center located on Camp Street in Georgetown. The 2-day conference is being held under the theme Understanding the Challenges and Working Towards Improving Fire and Rescue Services. The conference will focus on identifying challenges and gaps within the fire service and also look at ways of improving the service. In the 2021 national budget, the fire service was allotted a total of $1.9 billion. The fire chief said that one of the major projects will be the relocation of the central fire station from the congested Stabroek Market, along with the establishment of new fire stations at Eccles, East Bank, Demerara, Madia in Region 8, Lethem in Region 9, and Maburuma in Region 1. These new stations are expected to be completed by the end of the year.
You can well appreciate the task that is ours and the importance of our response in order to minimize the loss of lives, property, and personal effect, as well to ensure that the citizens of Guyana are effectively rescued and quickly transported to treatment center to guarantee their well-being.
Meanwhile, Minister of Home Affairs Robinson Ben, in his remarks, urged that the ranks and firefighters provide service with confidence. He also called on the public to desist from making prank calls. Ben said more needs to be done to promote the use of fire extinguishers and fire alarms in homes and water sprinklers in commercial buildings. This, the minister explained, will help reduce losses. The minister also touched on the need for the fire service to provide a welcoming environment, especially for women.
I think one of the more important things is that we should view our service as not a simple personal issue, that our service is a professional one. Our service is beyond ourselves. Our service is for the public, for people, for our country, for Guyana.
Among the plans to better the fire service are the modernization and renovation of fire stations, the establishment of a legal department and a public relations department. Taking into consideration the welfare of the firefighters and other ranks, the fire chief also announced the establishment of an occupation, safety and health department. The expansion of the fire service's emergency medical technician service is also part of the strategic plan, as well as core training for staff regionally and internationally. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwo.
When the newsroom returns, the minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water promises to resolve the age-old Beehive East Coast Demerara land matter, and the health minister says COVID patients must recover first before being vaccinated. This is the newsroom. The minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Suzanne Rodrigues, has assured residents of Beehive East Coast Demerara that she will resolve the age-old land matter affecting over 91 households. The minister made this pledge during a visit to the community on Wednesday to update the residents on the condition regarding them being able to access their land titles. Sheena Henry reports.
Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Suzanne Rodrigues, has pledged to pursue a resolution to the land matter affecting over 91 households of Beehive East Coast Demerara since the 1960s. In 1976, late President LFS Burnham issued a compulsory acquisition for the lands to be regularized since it was being occupied by people. The matter was challenged by the Kisuns and was in the courts until 2011 when the late Chief Justice Ian Chang ruled that the compulsory acquisition for the lands was unlawful.
Now, the Kisuns were not in favor of that because it was their private property, and so they took the government to court. The then Ministry of Works and Housing, which is now the Central Housing and Planning Authority. And this was since in the 70s that they took the ministry and they took the government to court. And it's been lagging in the court system for all those decades.
Minister Rodriguez said she has sought the assistance of Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal on the matter. The minister said the Kisun family was invited to a meeting to resolve the issue outside of the court, but they are requesting that persons pay market value for the lands, which the minister said was immediately rejected.
The Kisuns then suggested there can be an alternative arrangement whereby you pay a compensation to them for the land that you have occupied. That's okay. They can suggest whatever they want. At the end of the day, we have to consult and we will make a decision as a government. Because the way we see it right now, and after speaking with the AG, we have a judgment, the government has a judgment in their favor.
Minister Rodriguez told the residents that the matter is in the jurisdiction of the court and that she could not give a timeline for its resolution. However, she stressed that it is the responsibility of government to protect the rights of its citizens.
So we will be consulting, and I'm here to consult with you, and we will be engaging the attention of the courts, and we will write to the court to ask for there to be a speedy hearing on this matter so that we can put this matter to rest and so that the government can proceed with regularization.
The minister said there are many other persons in other communities enduring a similar situation as Beehive. She said the government understands the importance of people having a roof over their heads and it is serious about home ownership. For the Newsroom, I am Sheena Henry.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, on Thursday said the life-saving COVID-19 vaccine cannot be administered to positive COVID-19 patients as he pledged the best care for those experiencing severe symptoms of the virus. The clarification from Dr. Anthony comes as Guyana closed off Wednesday with 12 patients in the COVID-19 intensive care unit at the Infectious Diseases Hospital and 56 patients in hospitals across the country. Dr. Anthony's advice is in keeping with a recent request from the World Health Organization, the WHO, for recovered COVID-19 patients to hold off on taking the vaccine because of the global scarcity. Officially, the WHO has advised that vaccination may be offered regardless of a person's history of symptomatic or asymptomatic infection, although the added protection of vaccinating previously infected individuals is yet to be established. Currently, available data indicates that symptomatic reinfection within 6 months after an initial infection is rare. As Minister Anthony explains, when persons are infected, the body produces antibodies that fight off the virus for several months after infection.
We would prefer for them, if they already have the infection, we'll wait until they recover and then give them the vaccine. The guidelines have been that if you're already infected, that because you're infected, your body would start reacting to produce antibodies. So at that point, there's no need for the vaccine. The vaccines really help to prevent you from getting the severe form of the infection. So you want to give people, healthy people, the vaccine so that their immune system develop antibodies, and then if you come in contact with somebody who has COVID, that you're able to fight the disease off, right? So you don't want to give a sick patient the vaccine after they recover. Then because when they recover, their body, they'll still have antibodies. So that would be protective to prevent them from getting a reinfection. And then maybe after a month or two, you can then give them the vaccine.
We tell you now that the Finance Minister, Dr. Ashni Singh, has issued a stern warning to businesses that should they continue to flout the laws and unscrupulously attach the 14% value-added tax to items which the VAT has been removed or has been reduced, they will face the full force of the law. Dr. Singh, in a statement last evening, reminded that Budget 2021 outlined a number of measures, including the VAT zero rating or reduction on a number of commodities. The VAT zero rate was also restored to basic food items and household necessities. Dr. Singh recalled that these measures were intended to benefit consumers and ease the expenses. As such, Dr. Singh issued a warning to establishments that this illegality will not be tolerated. As such, he pointed out that he has already instructed the relevant agency, that's the Guyana Revenue Authority, to ensure that countrywide checks are made to enforce compliance. Still ahead on the newsroom, Guyana Light 104.1 FM marks its 3rd anniversary. This is the newsroom. It's now 3 years since Guyana Light 104.1 FM began broadcasting from its United Nations Place, Georgetown studio. The owner and veteran broadcaster Bobby Vera said that he saw a need for old-fashioned and soft, relaxing radio broadcasts in Guyana. During an interview with the newsroom on Thursday, Vera spoke about the growth of the station over the years, challenges faced, and plans for the future.
Playing the songs of yesterday, today, and forever. Light FM, broadcasting from Georgetown, Guyana, giving you the best in music, information, education, and entertainment. All happening for you right here on Guyana's favorite light sound, Light FM.
I think my ability, first of all, to be able to communicate in public space was a gift. And so I followed through with that gift, and I started out 43 years ago at the then Guyana Broadcasting Service on High Street, which no longer exists. And then I continued on until I left in the mid-80s to go to New York, where I really concretized my ability to broadcast generally. In all my years of study and working afterwards in the United States, I always had this vision for a radio station at home too, where the music will be the type of format that we use, soft, relaxing music, you know. There are other radio stations and everybody has got their choice of the type of format that they use, but I thought that there was a need for a radio station where people could relax, work and listen to music, you know, without the usual noise and so on. And so here we are with Light FM. And so far we continue to do pretty good in the marketplace. Over the years, yes, it has been a challenge. This is our 3rd year. It has been a challenge. We started off on the internet until I was able to acquire the license in March of 2018. And once that happened, we went into the process of establishing ourselves, you know, enhancing our equipment and, you know, making certain that the quality of our broadcast is good. We still broadcast on the internet. We have a very large following on the internet, over 90 countries around the world. And this is something that we could boast of because we are in touch with companies that monitor stations in that instance. So that is one of the things that I'm very proud of, one of the accomplishments. We started, in our 2nd year, we started syndicating with stations outside of Guyana, and now we are permanently with a radio station in the New York market. So that in itself is more than an accomplishment. Because we are monitored by a company, this company is located in Greece, Athens, Greece, called Radio Jar, which we have a contract with, but they could tell us in real time how many persons are listening to the station and which countries in the world. It's phenomenal, but that happens. And when you go and you check and you see the record and the information that is sent to us, we know that we're reaching a lot of people. So apart from the coastline in Guyana, even in Guyana, lots of people are listening in the Quarantine, in Linden, in the interior locations. So we're satisfied. You know, people in Guyana, and significantly older folk, and I'm talking about the 25 to 50 in that age group going up, they felt marginalized. When radio was formally handed to citizens and to the nation for persons to apply for licenses and become broadcast outfits, everybody, I thought, think that radio was about noise and reggae and jump and soca. So you had a section of the marketplace that was marginalized, and they were not catered for when it came to broadcasting. And radio is very significant still to this day, even though there's all types of things, YouTube and everything, you could go and play music. Radio is still a significant companion. In order to meet the demands, the listening pleasures, desires of listeners, I thought we should establish a station that we could meet, the needs of every radio listener. Therefore, multicultural meant that we will play, we produce, and we offer a multiplicity of programming so that people from various ethnicities, backgrounds, including religious, cultural, and otherwise, would be able to sit back and enjoy. And that is what we've been able to accomplish. It has worked well for us, and I don't think we'll change that. All in all, the station's drive is to educate, inform, and entertain. Entertainment, I left that at the end because I think it is important that we educate our folk, we inform them, and then we educate them.
Now, the Ministry of Public Works is advising the general public to take all the necessary precautions during the spring tide period of March 26, 2021 to April 1, 2021. The predicted tide indicates above normal levels for this impending period. The Sea and River Defense Department considers the following areas to be particularly susceptible to possible flooding: Pomeroon Riverbanks, Sans Souci to Sierra and Mariah's Pleasure to Merzerg, Good Success, Zeelandia and Moorfarm, Wakenham Island, Amsterdam Retrieve, Endeavour Blenheim, Cane Garden, Leguan Island, Winster Forest to De Willem, West Coast Demerara, Zeelat, Parika Market Area, Salem to Sparta, East Bank Demerara, Water Street Georgetown, Helena No. 1 and 2 Mahaika, Belvedere to Cottage Maikoni, Wellington Park, Tarlogy, Lonsdale, Glasgow, East Bank Berbice and Sheet Anchor, Kanji Berbice. The highest tides are expected to be on Monday, March 29, 2021 at 4:30 a.m. and at 4:42 p.m. Now, on Wednesday, on the occasion of World Tuberculosis Day, a new chest clinic at the Port Morant Hospital was commissioned, making it the third TB site in the region and the 20th to be established across the country. The clinic was commissioned by advisor to the Minister of Health, Dr. Barry Ramsaran. Sheena Henry reports.
You have to get it into the schools. You have to get it into under a conception of health in all policies. Every health must be everywhere. You mustn't knock at doors. You go in the police force, in the army, all over. You must want to reach out. So health in all policies should just have a new, the game changers, the change agents, and who are those? The young generation.
That was advisor to the Minister of Health, Dr. Barry Ramsaran, on the importance of the media disseminating information on health issues to the public, and continued that health should be a part of all policies.
And we need to live it. Health in all policies. Engage other stakeholders, right? Like the big entities I spoke about, the telephone company and so on. So once they buy in, you have win-win-win situation. The ministry wins because it's doing what we want our job to achieve. The industry or the business wins because they look magnanimous and they're executing something called corporate social responsibility and so on.
Meanwhile, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Narain Singh explained that with continued advances, Guyana has been able to diminish the mortality rate. However, with tuberculosis being the leading infectious cause of death worldwide, there is still work to be done.
So the battle has not been won as yet, and we still have a lot of work to do. The global effort to combat TB has saw an estimated of 58 million lives being saved since the year 2000. So we are getting there, but we still need to work towards this effort.
Although the chest clinic's main purpose is to diagnose and treat tuberculosis patients, services will be provided for other illnesses and diseases that affect the lungs. The tuberculosis strategy serves as a blueprint for countries to eliminate TB by the year 2030. For the Newsroom, I am Sheena Henry.
When the Newsroom returns, the financial weather and bridge reports along with sports. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. A maiden 100 from Nkrumah Bonner led West Indies to a hard-fought draw against Sri Lanka in the first test in Antigua on Thursday. West Indies set a target of 375, resumed the final day on 34 for 1 and closed on a respectable 236 for 4, batting exactly 100 overs. Bonner dropped anchor, facing 274 balls for his unbeaten 113, which included 13 fours and 1 6. Kyle Mears played a decent hand, hitting 52. Craig Braffett made 23 from 124 balls, as Lassit Emboldenaya and Vishwa Fernando claimed 2 wickets each. Final scores of the match: Sri Lanka 169 and 476, West Indies 271 and 236 for 4. The second and final test match will commence on March 29 at the same venue. Football news now. 7 years ago, Samuel Cox started out as a newbie for the Golden Jaguars, mingling among a plethora of local stars who were dominant in that era. Now at age 30, Cox, the skipper of the national senior men's team, has assumed the role of mentor to the younger players who have come into the program. In the current squad participating in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers in the Dominican Republic, 8 young players are from the Guyana Football Federation's academy training centers, and Cox has been making it his duty to integrate those players into the system.
That's a great point you make. And again, I look back to when I first got my first call up for Guyana nearly 7 years ago now. I was that young player that was integrating amongst probably a more predominantly local-based team. Back then, you had senior men like Dungan, Verlon Mills, Konata, some serious men that had a lot of experience. And I took a lot of value in speaking to those boys, learning and adapting to the style of Caribbean football. And it goes the same now. Now I'm on the other side. At 30 years old, I am one of the senior members of the squad now. And of course, being captain, I have that responsibility of helping with the integration. Obviously, it's not an easy job. And the gaffer's been adamant on, integration and getting the boys together. And, it seems seamless now where, the locals and the overseas are going like that. And what I really like about this crop of young players is that they're enthusiastic to learn. And I speak about developing young players, and that's one of the key traits that you need to forge a career in the game. To ask questions, to learn, because they could easily be here and just take it for, it's an international football game and they've got an opportunity to play. But what they're doing is they're asking us questions. They're sitting on our tables. You spoke about young Amari, an unbelievably polite young man who's, I'm sure is going to have a career in the game. But as Gaffer said, what we need to do is not put pressure on these young players. It is early in their careers, and they're getting a fantastic opportunity to be part of a senior men's side. They still have an awful lot to learn. So what we need to be careful is putting pressure on these young shoulders, where when they do come into the first team or get their opportunity, we're not expecting too much straight away, because, playing senior international footballs are not an easy thing. So they need to keep developing, keep learning techniques, keep learning the tactical side of the game. And when the time's right, the proof will be in the pudding if these boys are good enough to play senior international football. But for sure, they're well on their way, and they've got the right mindset to forge a good career.
Now, Survival Group of Companies has sponsored a 3rd annual Pagua Golf Tournament, which takes the stroke play format on Saturday at the Lusignan Golf Club. More from Akim Green.
Co-owner of Survival Group of Companies, Parshuram Arjun, indicated on Thursday that golf is a growing sport and they're committed to assist in the continuation of that growth.
Golf is not like cricket and football, where it's rated there and it's all over and everyone is aware of it, but it's a growing sport. Golfing is a growing sport and it's catching on, and Survivor's on board to stay. This is our 3rd year with the golf tournament, and we're looking for continue. I know many of you might think, man, Pagua, that's a Hindu thing. No, man, it's not a Hindu thing. Golfing is for everybody, and it's a sport which brings people together. It's a community sport. Everybody come out, participate, and enjoy. But Pagua is just the name, all right? So we're very happy to be a part.
Rabindranath Prasad, Assistant Secretary Treasurer of the LGC, said they will continue to follow all the necessary rules and not operate in ad hoc manner in regards to COVID-19.
We're being guided by the COVID guidelines, and it must be known that Lusignan Golf Club is not acting adverse to the guidelines of the task force, but we are complying, and so everybody come there will be asked to follow the guidelines.
LGC Secretary Chet Bowlin applauded Survival Group of companies for upkeeping their corporate social responsibility.
Of how much of a demonstration of good corporate social responsibility and support of the golf club is. In my head, Survival Supermarket is a household name. I don't think Survival needs to be out there to sponsor golf club. But the fact that they are stepping up in 3 years, it says they understand the value of helping the community. And Parshu mentioned that. Golf is about the community as well, bringing the community together. Golf is also about bringing the sport to school children and to the youth. And golf is about family as well. And those are the values I think Survival Food Supermarket. It's a household name, is a family name. So I think it's what you call a perfect match. The Zuknan Golf Club and Survival Supermarket.
Instead of the usual tee-off at noon, action will commence at 11 hours. The stroke play format, also known as medal play, is a scoring system in the sport of golf in which a total number of strokes is counted over one or more rounds of 18 holes. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
And Cricket Zone USA, through its managing director Ravi Etwaru, on Thursday made budding Guyanese cricketer Matthew Nandu an Adidas brand ambassador. The left-hander was presented with a full kit by representative of Cricket Zone USA, Alfred Madre, signaling the company's confidence in his ability to make a career out of the game. We caught up with the young Nandu, who is the son of the former Guyana and West Indies youth cricketer Arjun Nandu. He spoke about the endorsement and his ambitions in the sport. At age 17, Matthew Rohan Nandu is one of the brightest young batting talents in Guyana. His parents, who now reside in Canada, lived 2 houses away from the legendary Guyana and West Indies batsman Rohan Kanai at Port Morant, and naming him after the legend seemed the natural thing to do. It is their hope that he can aspire to the greatness Kanai managed. Matthew himself takes inspiration from the legendary pair Shivnarayan Chandapal and Brian Lara.
My name is Matthew Rohan Nandu, national cricket player and aspiring West Indies cricketer. I came from a cricketing household. My dad played for Guyana and West Indies team as well. But you know, it's always been a dream of mine to play for Guyana and West Indies as well. So right now it's just continue working hard and just look towards the future. My dad is my coach. He's a father at the same time, and I wouldn't be here without him and my family. So they've contributed a lot, especially him. At this point, it's just taking everything step by step, you know, going every day to training, putting in the work, you know, not getting too ahead of myself and staying humble, staying level-headed, and just putting in the work every day. And, you know, just trying to get to where I need to be with the continuous support from my family and anybody else. I like pressure, to be honest. I like being in pressure situations, and it's not really worrying about what other people are saying about you. It's just staying grounded and staying focused on what you have to do as an individual. And as I said, you know, have to put in the work every day, day in, day out. They played a large role, you know, speaking to me every day, you know, just reminding me that, you know, you're not there yet, you're not at the highest level. And you know, by having them speak to me every day and other people as well who are close to me, it has helped me a lot. You know, having that support on the mental side as well, it's a great support. Shivnarayan Chandapal and Brian Lara, both of my are both role models for me ever since I was a kid. Shivnan Chandrapal, he had the temperament to bat long. He could bat days and days without stopping, and Brian Lara could score runs at any rate. And I tried to incorporate both of those into my technique and just again staying focused on my game. I'm speechless because it's great. I'm thankful for the support, and especially I want to thank Ravi for seeing my talent and wanting to support me. And I also want to thank my family as well for their continuous support, as well as Uncle Richard and Auntie Sonia. So thank you again to Ravi, and it's greatly appreciated.
I've spoken to Ravi and he told me about him, and I got some information, and it seems to me like he has great potential, and I'm happy that Ravi is being a part of this sponsorship. And Ravi is the type of person who would like to elevate cricket and see these youngsters move on.
Find your passion and figure out what you want to do in life, and just keep working hard towards it. And that's it, just stay focused, and you have to realize what you really want to do.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.